You talking to me or our listeners?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is our introduction episode of Film to Table. My name is Eli.
I'm Denise.
And we are not professional film critics, but we are fans of movies and
We
food.
are. And food, yes.
And yeah, so we feel like something that was missing in our zeitgeist was our love for dinner and a movie that used to air on television many years ago.
On TBS, right?
Yes. Yeah, I believe so. And it was, I can't remember if it was like a Friday night staple or
I think it was a weekend night.
Yeah, it was somewhere around there because I used to watch a lot of Joe Bob Briggs, and I feel like it was in that same
sphere.
Yeah, it was in the same sort of realm of scheduling.
I think they were earlier, probably.
Yeah, because I think their shows were more
family
friendly for sure. And also clearly edited for television if they're going to be interlacing with food. But we like I have a background in art and from the Art Institute of Dallas. And I remember when I was just as I was graduating, they were introducing the culinary arts.
Into the school?
Into the school. It was like they had just opened it when I was graduating. So I was like, man, I really missed out on being able to do
That's
that.
True.
And so, yeah, my background was in digital art, 3D art, and motion graphics. And I was headed down the road to Hollywood when I made a hard turn back into Dallas and joined the rank and file of the video game industry. And even though that's what I do for a living, my love for film and research that's never gone away. And if anything has only gotten more so, like hardened, as something that I go to because it's a good outlet for me. And when I
inspiration too. Right?
Yeah, it's great inspiration for the I mean, it very much is inspiration for the video game industry. And now, funny enough, it's kind of turning the other way around. But yeah, I think, not to say that you don't have a background in film and television, but
I do not, in fact.
No, but the one thing you do have is a background that is something that is the other component to this that I feel is the big two, the peanut butter and the chocolate that kind of go together.
Oh, chocolate, huh? Interesting, not jelly.
No, it's peanut butter. That's the Reese's cup.
Okay, all right. Yes, I have worked in the hospitality industry for, I think, a little over 13 or 14 years now to some capacity, but primarily in kitchens, and I would say in some of the best restaurants in Dallas, I like to think.
Well, they are.
Okay.
It was
I didn't want to.
It was ranked the number one restaurant.
I had myself on the back too hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm taking a bit of a hiatus from that. Just kind of stepping away from the kitchen. Not to say that I won't ever go back, but the love is still there for sure. Maybe not so much now. The love for working crazy hours and holidays and weekends. But yeah, I've always I've always loved shows like Dinner and a Movie. I feel like it's a big kind of a gap in our entertainment right now because, I don't know. It's funny, out of all of the things that never, or at least hasn't yet made a comeback from the 90s and the 2000s or whatever, they've brought back just about everything else with the prequels and the sequels and the reboots. They're even bringing back fashion from the 90s that I thought we left far, far behind. But for some reason, Dinner and Movie never came back. And that's always something that we enjoyed watching.
Yeah. And I think our take on it, even though we won't, we're a audio podcast. We're not a visual medium. But I think the only difference, I guess, for us, it would be we will pick movies, usually movies that are in our current collection or movies that may be like more new releases that are in theaters and things like that. And I feel like us talking about those movies is something that we have always enjoyed doing, but I feel pairing that with some sort of food component, whether it be this ties well into the movie, or they were maybe will be inspired by something in the movie that
Yeah.
makes us want to think like, oh, that could be an interesting like take on that. But I think it'll be more than just a very standard, like Pulp Fiction, and then doing like a big
A
Kahuna
milkshake.
burger,
Yeah.
and a milkshake. Because I mean, I think that's obvious, but
Right.
that's not really, that's how we will differ from like Dinner and a Movie. Whereas that may actually be what they do because they'll be able to do that. We may actually think of that as like things that are going on in California or in Inglewood, or areas that it's like
Yeah.
something that inspires us.
Or like, what do you crave when you're super high on heroin? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But
yeah.
yeah, it's more about kind of the mood and the feel of the movie than a straight up kind of literal interpretation.
Yeah.
So
Maybe
yeah,
sometimes.
sometimes when it's kind of a gimme and it's a big part of the movie,
Yeah.
like like meatballs and pasta would be kind of too obvious for The Godfather, but it also is perfect for The Godfather.
Yeah.
So we're not saying we're not going to do that.
Yeah. And so I think that the idea will just sort of be to talk through it, and that'll always be the second portion of our podcast is after we've talked about a movie, then we'll talk about the food that ties it in. But that doesn't mean that we won't also have times that you may want to experiment with a menu item and actually make something that I will get to enjoy.
Yum yum.
And then you may tell me, like, we may actually you may prepare something and then I may eat it, and then I will find out what the movie is after the fact, and we'll talk about it. Because yeah, I feel like, much like you were saying, I feel like film and food, in a lot of ways, there is a lot of similarities, not only in the fact that they are both forms of art, but they require a tremendous amount of preparation and planning and getting things situated in order to have like a really good movie. You got to have a really good story. You got to have a really good plan, characters. Like, everything has to be thought out prior to, somebody making that film. And sometimes the film will succeed, sometimes it won't. And I feel the same way with food, is like, you really have to think about the components and things like that you would want to put into a meal, and all the planning that kind of goes into it in order to execute something that actually would be something that would be delicious. And
Sure. Yeah.
It's a different sense, or using different senses, of taste and smell over like visually, using your eyes and your ears to watch a movie. But yeah, that's kind of our podcast. It's a side version, or it's a side cast of the podcast
Side
Top
tick.
Shelf Videos. So during the I guess sort of the off weeks of Top Shelf Video, our Film to Table will be sort of interlaced between some of those episodes, and just give us another reason to talk more movies, because we want to broaden our intake of movies and food. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing this and talking more with my wife on a microphone. So yeah, looking forward to it. And we have a great outro catchphrase.
Oh no.
That we're going with.
And what is it?
It is we will bring it to the table.
Oh no, that's terrible.
Yeah, I don't know.
We don't have an intro or an outro, but that's okay.
That's all right.
That's okay.
Yep.
It's the friends you make along the way.
That's right. It's about the journey.
Yes.
All right. Love you.
Love you too.